This is road edition. We're on the road. I'm at a truly beautiful hotel in Querétaro in Mexico. It's really nice here. Okay, it's a new week. It's a new week, which means we're setting new goals. We're setting new writing goals. We're setting new reading goals. We're talking about NaNoWriMo briefly. There's going to be a video to come about that. Welcome to the stream. If you're here, let me know in the chat. Also today, I'm going to be talking about the big idea per usual. Tolstoy is going to come up in this download. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you're just catching the stream and you don't know me, my name's Asa Merritt. I write short fiction. My background is in screenwriting. On my YouTube channel, we're talking about fiction. So this week in writing, I think before I get to my specific writing goals, which I'll share, there's several short stories that I want to make progress on this week. Before I get to those, I want to talk about the big idea. And usually on these streams, I share one kind of larger idea that is adjacent to writing, but I find that lifestyle ideas or kind of productivity ideas or rest ideas, these are the things that can actually most impact my writing. And so the big idea this week in a word is vision. I've really been inspired by a lot of the community that's happening in the Discord server. I'll share information about that. Just this sense of energy around potential folks sharing their kind of reading goals and their writing goals. And it's just been a reminder of the energy that you can find when you have a vision for yourself as a creator. And I've been feeling that increasingly recently. And I just think that journaling or reflecting or talking with peers this week, I want to kind of circle that idea. So that's the big idea for the week. Welcome, everyone. Mateo, welcome. Welcome. This here is my week ahead. So as you can see, we've got lots of different kinds of goals here. On the writing front, I want to talk about these short stories. Then I'm going to talk about some reading plans. I want to talk about some learning goals that I have, and I'm just going to go through it. This is my week. This is kind of a week in my life as a writer if everything goes right this week. So if you've been following along, I have been working on a lit fic story that is called Under the Pear Tree that I've been feeling really good about. That story, the early drafts of it came out quickly. Revising it last week went well. I feel like it's in a good place. I've started identifying places that I'm going to send that story to, literary magazines. I've started putting together a strategy for submission. I'm going to start that strategy this week. So I'm going to polish the story. I'm going to sit down with it one final time with a fine-tooth comb as if I'm an editor, go through it, find any little place that I can improve it. There's a famous literary magazine called, I think it's pronounced Noon, highly competitive, rigorous, experimental fiction. And I read on their site recently that any kind of story that gets close to the final round, all the editors sit around a table and they read the story out loud, word by word. I love that idea. I love that kind of rigor. So I don't know if I'll do that for this story, but we're getting to that phase. Revise the Runaway story. This is not the Santa story, by the way. The Santa story, it's kind of on its own sleigh. The reindeer have taken it, and it's like into the night. We'll see what happens with that. These are other stories that I'm working on, if you were wondering about the Santa story. The Runaway story is another story that I'm sort of slotting into this kind of ranch series about stories set in and around this ranch where I grew up as a kid, these rural climes out west. And I need to revisit that story. That's a story that came so quickly, the first draft, but now I need to sit down with it, read what I've got. And so I think the big writing push this week, eyes are bigger than my stomach here. We'll see what I can actually accomplish, is to revisit that story. And then thirdly, I want to engage with this story called The Herd, which I drafted last Friday in a writing workshop. On this channel, my friend Sarah Ray Warner and I run Friday workshops, writing workshops, generative ones where we write on the spot. And a really kind of cool seed of a story came out of that last one called The Herd. So I want to see if there's more to that. So those are the writing goals. I just want to welcome everyone who's joining the stream. Takashi, I know you're here. Welcome everyone. My reading goals, Hello, all wizards unite. Good morning, Lord Huntress. I'm so glad you're here. Reading goals. So I've chosen some specific short stories that I want to close read. These are some classics. Where Are You Going? Where Did You Come From? By Joyce Carol Oates, and another story called The A and J. I think I'm getting that right, by John Updike. These are both one scene, one take stories revolving teens in kind of a coming age type context. And if you have been following along with the Santa story, you know then that this is a teen coming of age short story. Most of it takes place in one scene on the sleigh in the mall. Between this girl and Santa, there's an affair. And so I want to look to the past, look to some of the great stories of the past to try to find technical inspiration to see exactly how they thread the needles in these stories, how they set the scene, how they set up the question of kind of like, okay, here's this young person. What is the change that's about to happen in their life, and how do we make that change possible? So those two stories, I've read them each before, but years and years and years ago. So I want to kind of revisit those. Whew, The Frolic. Okay, y'all. Thomas Ligotti. Next on the reading list here, you will see The Frolic. I actually reread this story last night in preparation for today's live stream. That if you're on this live stream, which I hope you are, anyone who is on this live stream, return to this channel in 15 minutes because another live stream will be happening with Taylor and Wright, another writer on AuthorTube, a very rich, committed reader who has recently discovered Thomas Ligotti, like I have recently discovered Thomas Ligotti, like Sarah Ray Werner has recently discovered Thomas Ligotti. This guy is insane. If you knew, you knew. Now I know. And so we're discussing this book, The Frolic. So this was on my reading list, actually, but I had already read it last night in preparation for today's Story Club shortcoming. And if you catch this feed later, be sure to check out that conversation. It's about, a family in a prison town, and things do not go well. Sci-fi story club, horror story club. I meant to write the stories down that we're reading this week. I'm on the road and things came together late. I can't remember what those stories are. But on Wednesday and Thursday on this channel, Sarah, the aforementioned Sarah, and I run two story clubs, same time, 11 a.m. Eastern, and we will be reading stories for those. So I can't remember what they are, but that is my reading list for sci-fi and horror story club. Additionally, I'm tackling books 1 through 3 of the Septology, John Fosse's Nobel Prize winning epic, 1,000-page magnum opus. The guy's sentences gives me goosebumps. Some learning goals, just hit these briefly. I roughly follow the George Saunders Story Club Substack. Every now and then there's a Tolstoy story he did last week I want to read, and then Samantha Schweblin, the Argentine writer, has a podcast that recently dropped that I want to listen to. Oh my God, productivity. This is just maybe TMI, but I have a printer that's been not working at all. And I need to go get it fixed because I like to read stuff on paper. And then last but not least, community. Hello, welcome. This is the vibe. We're together in this. There's a link to the Discord in the description of this video. Additionally, I'm so excited about this. For NaNoWriMo, I am developing with some colleagues in the Discord an alternative plan for NaNoWriMo that has to do with Ray Bradbury. It includes writing. It includes reading. There's a lot to it. I actually am making a video about that, which I hope to drop today. If you're on the stream live, it's Monday. If you catch the stream, look out for that, because what I've done there is outlined an alternative for NaNoWriMo that I think will feel really rewarding to folks and really scratch the itch. And if they want to continue having a November push, this could be really cool. So be on the lookout for you. Hello everyone. I hope this stream went well. I hope you could hear me the whole time. And again, we will see you shortly on the live stream for The Frolic by Thomas Ligotti. It's 9:16. You have 14 minutes. I think you can find this story on YouTube, possibly online. Go read it. Go listen right now. And if you don't have time, we'll tell you all about the story. Anyway, folks, have Happy Monday. Have a great week, everyone. And talk to you soon.